morning everyone, it's Jane here. How are you today? I thought it is the last day of July here in Australia. It's July the 31st and I thought so I'll come on and go through the pens that I used for the month of July. Some of them I was really impressed with, some of them I was less impressed with the pen and ink pairing that I did. So I'll go through that with you now. The first one we had was this Sailor Pro Gear Slim Princess Kagawa in a medium fine nib. I had it inked with Sailor Shikiori Okayama, which was a sample gifted to me by pen friend TB, and I really enjoyed that pairing. I found the ink flowed well, there was no stopping or starting issues, there was no skipping. It actually just, it was a really enjoyable combination to use. So that was the first one. The second one was the Twsbi, oh, and sorry, I should say that was left over from the month before, so that was left over from June. As was this one. So this is a Twsbi VAC 700R in Iris with a medium nib, inked with Pilot Roshizuku Karasami, and it flowed and wrote really well too. And because I had some ink left in it from June, I just carried it forward to July because I didn't want to waste the ink, and it was a really nice pairing. I enjoyed it. So that's that one. The next one that was carried over from last month is this Jinhao 82. I think it's got some special name for it called coffee something, or I don't know, but I call it Amber Sparkle. It has a fine nib on it, and I had it inked with Robert Oster Toffee, and that pen and ink pairing was beautiful. It actually really surprised me. I think the pen itself surprised me because it's a fairly inexpensive pen, but the nib on it works really well, flows really well with ink. So that was good. This was another one that was carried over from the month before. This is the Lamy Vista with a fine nib, and I had it inked with Noodler's Tokyo Gift. And once again, that was a really nice pairing. I love that Tokyo Gift. And I'm not a big red ink person, but I really enjoyed that. So the whole reason I tried that one is because Chris Sains, she loves this red colour, and this Noodler's Tokyo Gift. So I thought, I'll get a sample of it and try it, and I'm so glad that I did. The next one was my Twsbi Eco Tea in Saffron with a broad nib, and I had it inked with Teranishi Nostalgic Honey, and that was the perfect pairing for this pen and ink. It just wrote beautifully, had no problems with it. And you'll notice some of them I've actually written dry and all the rest of it, and some of them I just haven't. I kind of lost my way for the month of July. I had a lot going on, so hence why I've been a little bit missing in action on here. Now the next one was this Twsbi Go in the clear with a broad nib, and I had it inked with Teranishi Emotional Olive, and I really enjoyed that pairing. But when I was cleaning this out, I've actually lost a piece of it, I think, down the sink. So this is actually my favourite sort of broad nib pen, believe it or not. So I'm quite upset with myself that now it won't write. Well, I can't even get it to vacuum fill like I did before, or spring load fill, whatever the terminology is. So I'm going to have a think about what I do with that going forward. But yeah, I was really upset with myself, disappointed. Not in the pen or ink pairing, but just in the fact that I lost a piece down the sink. Okay, the next pen we had was this Esterbrook Estie in Sea Glass. It has a medium nib on it, and I inked it with Robert Oster Velvet Storm. And I think it still has, maybe it has a little bit left in it, this one. I love this. This actually worked really well. Yeah, I have got a bit of ink left in it when it sort of goes down. Yeah, so I've probably got, I don't know, about a quarter of the fill left in that. And I really like that Velvet Storm. It's sort of like a really deep teal, greeny blue colour. It's a gorgeous colour. Now the next pen that I had inked up was my Just Turnings Custom Copperline, and it has the Platinum 776 medium nib on it, and I had it inked with Teranishi Opera Rose, and that was just so beautiful. And sorry, my dog's having a bit of a coughing fit there. You alright, Otis? Sorry about that. Yeah, so that was a really beautiful pairing. I enjoyed writing with it, so much so that I ended up, when I wrote this dry, I ended up re-inking it again and then wrote it dry again. So I wrote this pen dry twice for the month of July. I just enjoyed it so much. The next one, and it's still got some ink left in it, so it'll be carried over for next month, is the Twsbi Eco in Smoke Rose Gold with a broad nib. And that was inked, or is inked, with Versatile Press Storied Blue. And that blue has a lot of shading in it, so it was actually nice seeing it in a broad nib and seeing those shading qualities when writing with it. So that was nice. Next one was my Twsbi Eco in Lilac with a broad nib, and I had it inked with Private Reserve ink Arabian Rose, and that was another beautiful pairing. Really enjoyed it. That ink is a very wet ink, the Private Reserve ink, so no problems there. It was lovely. Now this next one I was not happy with. I ended up emptying it out. I wrote with it for about half the month and I just got annoyed with it. So this is a Twsbi Diamond 580 in White Rose Gold with a medium nib, and I had it inked with Versatile Press Roaring Patina Black. Now I think a couple of months ago I actually spilt a good majority of my Roaring Patina Black ink all over my desk, and so I was managed to there was a little bit left in the bottle, and I thought I'll put it in this pen, but what was left really didn't look anything like what the Roaring Patina Black looked like before, and I'm not sure why. It almost turned red, so I don't know whether that was the sheening that was just left over without the shimmer, because it is a black ink, but yeah, it just, I don't know, I wasn't happy with the combination. It's actually stained a bit of my pen as well. You can see here, I don't know if you can see, it's sort of stained it a little bit with it's like a pinky colour. So I wasn't real thrilled about that, but you live and learn, hey? The next one that was inked up is this Sailor Pro Slim in Blue Green Nebula with a medium nib, and I had it inked with Sailor Shikiori Toko Amatsu, and that was another really nice pairing. I think I've actually, have I got a little bit of that? I think I've got a little bit left. Just got a cartridge in here. I just refilled the cartridge for this pen. I didn't use a converter, but yeah, there's a tiny little bit left. Not a great deal though. So I might just probably clean that out. So that was the next one. After that we had the Pilot Decimo in Champagne Pink with a medium nib, and it was inked with Robert Oster Black Violet, and that was a beautiful pairing. That Black Violet is actually a really lovely deep grey colour, and has a little bit of shading in it, so a really lovely combination. I'll just put that there. The next one we had was, I wrote this one dry with the Sailor Shikiori Okayama, so I then inked it up with Sailor Shikiori Harahara, so that came back in there. As you know, I inked up the Just Turnings Custom Copperline again with the Teranishi Opera Rose, so that came back into play. And the last one that I inked up for the month was this Sailor 1911 Standard in black and gold with the gold. It has a broad nib on it, and I inked it with the Teranishi Gentle Green. Now, this is my first Sailor 1911 pen. You can get a large one or a standard size one. This is the standard size one. And I have to admit, I felt like this broad nib wrote much like a medium nib for the sailor. I'm not sure, like looking at them now, I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's how it felt in my hand. I felt like this broad nib, and I know sailor nibs are run a lot finer than other pen brands, but I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of difference between the broad nib and the medium nib for a sailor, which was interesting. But still a lovely pen to write with. But yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit more broader. Anyway, so that were the they were the pens that I used for July. So let's see how many we used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16 pens. 16 pens for July, including the one that I re-inked again. So yeah, overall I was quite happy. I really enjoyed the inks. I thought the inks sort of complemented each other quite nicely. I think out of all of them, my favourite was probably the Just Turnings Custom Copperline with the Platinum 3776 medium nib on it, inked with a Teranishi Opera Rose. That was probably my favourite combination. My next one that was probably one that I really enjoyed writing with is my Pilot Decimo, the champagne pink with a medium nib, and it was inked with Robert Oster Black Violet. I liked that one. I think the third one that I really enjoyed was this Twsbi Eco Tea Saffron with a broad nib, and I had it inked with Teranishi Nostalgic Honey. I think that was probably my third favourite. And I'm just trying to think, what would my next one be? Probably the Esterbrook. The Esterbrook Estie Sea Glass with Robert Oster Velvet Storm. I really enjoyed that. Actually, that would be a tie, I think. This with that combination, the Lamy Vista Fine with a Noodler's Tokyo Gift. And I know you're probably looking at this going, wow, quite an inexpensive pen versus quite an expensive pen. But it wasn't so much the pens, it was more their pairings. So this pen paired very well with that Noodler's Tokyo Gift, and this pen paired very well with that Robert Oster Velvet Storm. So they're probably my top 5 for the month, I reckon. So, and I'm still trying to work out what I'm going to ink up for the month of July. I still haven't quite worked that out. So we'll see how we go. That'll be the next video. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. I hope wherever you are in the world that you're having a fantastic day or a really lovely evening. I hope you're well, you're safe, and thank you to everyone who has subscribed and who watches my videos and likes them. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you back here next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.